Where do you think would be better for women, Iran or America?
I don't think America is quite good for women when we look at how we handled the Epstein files.
You have the freedom to follow whatever religion you want, including none at all. And you're gonna walk around and try to tell me that this is a worse place to be as a woman than Iran.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. What do you think is happening in Iran to their women? Do you think that that place is a good place for women?
No, she thinks that the women there are sitting around drinking tea, being waited on by the men, having their best life now.
I think women have their right to choose about where they want to live and about what they want to follow.
In Iran?
In Iran, yeah. I think that people have misconceptions about religion, especially with Muslims and Islamic regions.
I was not expecting you to be so pro the Ayatollah and pro dictator.
Well, yeah, we have a dictator in our own country.
I have a challenge for you. We will buy you a ticket, a one-way ticket to Iran.
Wait, really?
Would you go? Would you take that?
Yeah.
Are you part of the LGBTQ community at all?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go with her? Do you want to bring your boyfriend?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay, very cool.
Hang on. Okay, I'm curious if they actually take this deal, because it would be crazy if they did. It's crazy. Okay, let's keep going. What? They bought the tickets?
I'll just send you there, and then you try kissing a woman there. You try walking your dog in Tehran. Okay, and we'll see how far you get.
Okay, now I'll keep watching her channel to see if this actually happens, because it will be crazy. It's amazing when you watch these privileged Americans assume that the rest of the world is California. Okay, the way California claims that it should be, when all of the crazy policies that they pass actually take hold, and all of the leftists are celebrating. There's this leftist utopia where all of their sexual fantasies are fulfilled and everything goes. I think that's what they think the rest of the world is. So America is so evil, crazy.
Solidarity with radical Islamists that you think are not as much of a threat to the country as Trump supporters. Would you look at the camera and say in solidarity, Allahu Akbar?
Allahu Akbar.
Okay. And would you say, make America great again in solidarity with the Trump supporters?
No.
This
no, I'm sorry, I would not.
Who is a bigger threat to America today? Radical Islamists or Trump supporters and MAGA?
Trump supporter and MAGA.
Why do you say Trump supporters?
It's just feeling ignorance and hate.
The people who are claiming that the Trump supporters are ignorant and hateful are the ones who are expressing total ignorance and hate.
Yeah. But you don't see by
like they hate their country so much that they will root for another country whose parliament, as a matter of policy, chants death to America. That is their matter of policy. That is their rallying point, and that's who she's siding with.
Radical Islamists.
I mean, anything radical is not good in a sense, or if you're spewing hate and violence, but it's yeah.
In solidarity with radical Islamists that you think are not as much of a threat to the country as Trump supporters, would you look at the camera and say in solidarity, Allahu Akbar?
Allahu Akbar.
Okay. And would you say, make America great again in solidarity with the Trump supporters?
No. No, I'm sorry, I would not.
Anyway, I have some thoughts about this, but I'll just keep going. Okay, we have a few things to get through today, so we'll just keep going.
Who do you have, supporter or radical Islamist?
Radical Islamist.
You saw someone wearing one of those red hats chanting "Make America Great Again," or you saw someone shouting Allahu Akbar running down the breezeway here. Who would you feel more safe with?
The one shouting aloud. Yeah.
You would support the radical Islamists.
Yeah.
What is it about Trump supporters that you don't think you'd get along with them so well?
Look, it's either these people are joking or they've been so totally brainwashed that anyway, it's that suicidal empathy that we keep talking about. And if they really mean these answers, then I'm terrified for them. I'm terrified for them. There's this video that that's on the internet of I think she's Swedish, or but I think she's European, a European journalist who went to cover the Arab Spring in Egypt, and she thought she was in Europe. She thought she was in a Western country. So she and her cameraman were in the middle of Tahrir Square, where all of these military-aged males had been for days during this protest. And suddenly, I think it got progressively darker, and then I think the lights went out, and immediately these men who were fighting for freedom began to say in Arabic, grab her, rip her clothes off. Like they were ready to assault her right there on the spot. Well, before the evening was, in fact, it wasn't even the evening was done. In less than 5 minutes, she was naked. And she essentially held back a bunch of things, but a lot of them were literally using their hands on her, if you get what I mean. The women who grew up under these privileged circumstances in the West, where evil has largely been tamed and pushed into the fringes, don't understand what it's like to live in countries like Iran. And you hear them talk about these things, and you're watching them, and you're like, you guys don't realize the insanity that's coming out of your mouth. It's insane. But then again, look, we can say, or some of us who are watching can think to ourselves, hey, let them have their way. Look, it's going to be bad for everyone if they have their way. Okay, it's better for them to take a one-way ticket to those countries and then begin to appeal the embassy to fly them back to the United States after their lives have been wrecked. It's like those women who decided that they wanted to be brides of ISIS fighters from Australia, and then they spent years as brides of these ISIS warriors, and then suddenly they want to come back to Australia. And there are actually some insane people in Australia who want them to come back. Okay, like these are radicalized, brainwashed women who want to bring that destructive culture back to Australia and essentially add to the insanity that's already going on in Australia. It's crazy, but that's what's going on.
I'm gay.
But you would get along with the radical Islam. I don't think you'd get along with them so well. Who would you feel more safe with?
The one shouting aloud. Yeah.
You would support the radical Islamists.
Yeah.
What is it about Trump supporters that you don't think you'd get along with them so well?
I'm gay.
But you would get along with the radical Islamists?
Yes.
And you're gay?
Yes.
In solidarity with...
Everyone knows what will happen to her. She jumps off that plane claiming how she's gay and wants to have her civil rights or have her fundamental human rights respected by the Islamic regime, the IRGC. Well, she'll be having her fundamental human rights awarded to her from off the top of a building.
Radical Islamists. Would you look at the camera and say in solidarity, Allahu Akbar?
Allahu Akbar.
And would you say, make America great again in solidarity with the Trump supporters?
No.
What is a bigger threat to America today? Radical Islam or Trump supporters?
Trump supporters.
I'll say Trump.
Trump supporters in MAGA.
Yeah.
I would say Trump supporters in MAGA.
I would have to go with the Trump supporters.
Trump supporters, MAGA.
Trump supporters in MAGA.
I'd say MAGA.
But we should be able to allow people to be who they are.
Yeah. Even if they're a radical Islamist.
Yes. There's no right to judge them.
So if someone came running down the street.
So I don't get it. Does MAGA have a policy that says no one is allowed to live their own lives? These guys have been watching TDSBC and they believe the radical insanity that that has been spread. Patricia, I've missed you. I've missed you. Yeah, welcome back, Patricia. I have been waiting for you to get back. Thank God you're back. It's good to see you. Oh my goodness, it's good to see you. Okay, let me try and be professional here. So, these people have been lied to by TDSBC. You know, they've been lied to. I've missed you so much, Patricia. These people have been lied to so much by TDSBC that they believe all of these insane lies and then they repeat them on the street as if they are fact. Okay. MAGA Republicans are not the ones attacking random people who don't vote the same way they do, on the street. They are not the ones taking shots at people they disagree with. They are not the ones who threaten to kill a sitting president who isn't from their party of choice. So it's just this projection that they've essentially been schooled in. It's just crazy.
Allahu Akbar. Or if there was someone on the opposite side saying, "Make America great again."
MAGA.
I'd say MAGA.
But we should be able to allow people to be who they are.
Yeah. Even if they're a radical Islamist.
Yes. There's no right to judge them.
So if someone came running down the street, "Allahu Akbar," or if there was someone on the opposite side saying, "Make America great," which side to? As Christians, and we're following Christ, do you think it's important to call out radical Islam?
No, because it's a freedom of religion.
Yeah, it's a freedom of religion.
How many terrorist attacks did Trump supporters engage in last week?
So many.
Just guess.
Thousands.
If you're a radical Islamist watching this right now, we pray for your conversion.
It's whatever they want to do, then do it. Whatever they want to do, then do it. Whatever they want to do, then.
Hang on. Let's see that. Let's see those headlines. So I'm going to move my insert just a sec. Like, it's like I said, suicidal empathy. Whatever they want to do, and these are the people doing these things in the United States. Die in your rage. Islamist attacks and murder plots are quickly adding up. Okay, whatever they want to do, they want to murder you in your beds. You guys don't watch the news. It's happening in Nigeria. It's happening in Nigeria. I can't play these videos because I don't know how YouTube would react. But there are videos of women who tell these stories of waking up to these monsters who have broken into their homes. They grab their kids and end them. These are the people you're encouraging. Well done.
Want to do, then do it. Whatever they want to do, then do it.
Hang on. What was this headline? Four Islamic terrorist attacks in Europe in 1 week. Islamic terrorists are showing us what they can do when they have the numbers. Okay.
Whatever they want to do.
2 teens charged over Islamic State-inspired attack outside Mamdani home. There's a story right now circulating in England well, that's a different story. I think I'll leave it for later because I think at some point we're going to go to Europe and see what's going on. The thing that these these people are wishing would come to the United States, they need to see it and they need to understand the danger that they are courting. Patricia says the people do not understand what terrorist Islam, what terrorist Islamists are. They are being misled to think Islam is a religion when it is not. Muslims practice religion, Islamists practice terrorism, and it's a political movement. It's a political movement. I hear these things and I'm like, well, let's just calmly listen to them and then give our commentary, because to be honest with you, I don't think if you were to present them with the truth, if the truth was staring them in the face, they would not believe it.
Then do it. Whatever they want to do. Then
What is Ashab al-Yamin? New Shiite terror group claims synagogue attacks across Europe. The group seemingly did not exist before this week and unusually does not have its own Telegram or social media channels. Usually such groups create channels straight away.
and do it. Whatever they want to
Old Dominion shooter was previously convicted of Islamic State ties, released from prison early after completing drug program. It's called suicidal empathy, guys. They think that all you have to do is take these guys through a 12-week course, and then they're now ready to be returned back to the general population, like those girls who married ISIS warriors or soldiers. And now these clowns in Australia are planning to bring them back into Australia. I don't know what the update is. I haven't been following it, but they might be back in Australia. Okay, so good luck, Australia.
do, then do it.
Yeah, so one of the things that I keep talking about on this channel is the fact that the schools are the reason why these insane policies are essentially not understood. Listen to these students who are on spring break, and most of them are meant to be in college. They look like college-age students. They can't even tell you basic history. They can't answer one simple question.
England.
So England versus who in the Civil War?
France.
What continent are we on right now?
The US of A. What? Oh my gosh, I'm getting clipped.
What year was 9/11?
2012.
Who bombed Pearl Harbor?
Spain.
So how many total senators does that mean we have in the United States?
Oh, 50 states, 3 times 50, 65.
What year did we free the slaves?
I should know this. This is a bad look.
1962.
Who is the commander-in-chief of the military?
Learned about this one in school, I think. Starts with a D. It's like donut or something.
Do you know what amendment freed the slaves?
We'll say the third.
What's the third amendment?
The right to bear arms.
Who played the Super Bowl halftime show?
Bad Bunny.
Who sings the song Espresso?
Oh, Sabrina Carpenter.
What does GRWM stand for on TikTok?
Get ready with me.
Who is
They can't tell you, they can't give you the correct answers of basic American history, even history from the last 20 years. The last 20 years can't even be called history, in my opinion. But let's just say 20 years. They can't even tell you anything that's happened, okay, for the United States, but they can tell you everyone who sang at a halftime show, Taylor Swift, lyrics. They tell you everything that's connected to social media, shorthand.
Taylor Swift engaged to?
Travis Kelce.
Okay. Who sings the song Espresso?
Sabrina Carpenter.
What movie is Regina George from?
You look like a fucking idiot. I'm annoyed with that.
No one is making you look like an idiot. You're doing that all by yourself. You can't even answer basic questions about the history of your country. Total strangers, immigrants like me could have answered a few of those questions. Okay? All right. I don't know everything. Okay. I don't know everything. Now Patricia says Atlantis destroyed itself with its own technology. Humanity is following the same path. Technology is being used to dumb down people. Well, yeah, but people are the ones who are dumbing down people using technology. Okay. it's just, it's aggravating to watch this, and these people vote. I think that's the terrifying part, that these people vote. And just think, just the thought that these are the people who determine who controls the nuclear football is terrifying. We're going to watch this hearing, okay? This is an exchange between Carol Swain and Jared Moskowitz, a representative on Capitol Hill. Now, this is a hearing on the Southern Poverty Law Center. Of course, there are people who want to claim that they are heroes and that they are protecting the country from white supremacists and Nazis and so on. And yeah, that's the spin that the Democrats want everyone to believe. Like these students who can't even tell you basic history, they believe these lies. And and like I've said again and again, whenever you hear the Democrats saying these outlandish things, and you're wondering to yourself, how is it that anyone with a brain can vote for these people, can vote these people into office? Hank Johnson, who said on the record that if there were too many Marines on Guam, that the island would tip. Those are the people that they vote in. Who on earth in their right mind would vote them in? Students like this, people who don't even know basic history, who don't even know math, but they can sing you all the lyrics of every Taylor Swift song that has been released. So let's watch this, and you give us your thoughts in the chat. Oh, hang on, I'm going to read this before we proceed. Patricia says, an entire generation has not been educated about world history. They no longer teach world history in our schools. They are not even teaching the children about our own history. That is the truth. Patricia also says, this uneducated generation would have surrendered to Japan when they attacked Pearl Harbor. No, they would have said that America deserved Pearl Harbor. They would have rallied to say, look, America was oppressing Japan because Japan claimed that they were afraid that America would withhold oil exportation to Japan. So Japan was striking first in order to ensure that there was a clear flow of oil to Japan. It was a crazy idea. And you know what? You're right. This generation would capitulate. These cowards in Congress would refuse to go to war with Japan after that attack. They would say, look, no. We need to, negotiate with these people. That's what they would say. All right. So let's have a listen, and they give us your thoughts in the chat.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to go back really quick to the questioning by Ms. Crockett, just because I thought it was actually an easy line of questioning, and I want to give everyone an opportunity just to clarify. Ms. Swan, the neo-Nazis are a supremacist group, right? I know you talked about your book, but neo-Nazis are a supremacist group.
May I define a white supremacist? Because I did a Cambridge University Press book, and when I did my research,
I know, but Ms. Swan, I got to be honest, you're doing what the university professors did with Elise Stefanik, talking about, well, what's the definition of this and what's
I'm giving you a definition because you all don't have one.
No, the neo-Nazis are a supremacist group. They believe they're supreme, right? That's why they wanted to put people in camps that they believed were not pure. Neo-Nazis are a supremacist group, right? I mean, this is not a trick question, Ms. Swan. I'm not trying to trip you up in the fact that you're...
I would like to define a white supremacist, and when I did my research, it was white people who believed that because of their race, they were superior to other groups. But the left redefined white supremacists so that it could include any white person in this room,
Ms. Swan, hold on. That's a wonderful speech and a filibuster.
No, it's true.
Are neo-Nazis supremacists?
It depends on which ones. They're individuals.
No, I didn't ask you which ones.
Some of them are plain old
neo-Nazi. Miss Swan, listen, I'm not reading your book if you literally can't answer this question. Are neo-Nazi supremacists?
They're individuals. Some are, and some may be just plain old anti-Semites.
No, neo-Nazis are anti-Semites.
This guy was voted in by students like those people we just watched.
Semites, okay? We're going to agree there.
Right, okay.
But they're also supremacists, Miss Swan.
Okay, if you agree.
No. You don't have to take my word for it, right? Like, they are. That's the whole reason they exist.
But you all don't
because they believe they are supreme.
You all don't seem to understand that a white
Who's they all?
supremacist
I'm not a
until you
neo-Nazi.
define.
Who's they all? I'm a regular person asking another regular person if we can agree that neo-Nazis are supremacists.
I will agree with you.
Okay, I don't want you to be forced into it.
I would agree with you, but I suggest you all take the time and read my Cambridge University Press book
Listen,
that was nominated for a Pulitzer Prize.
Listen, Dr. Swan, I can promise you there's no freaking way I'm buying your book. When it took 2 minutes for you to look at me and had to convince you that neo-Nazi, listen.
Because I don't like the talking points. The leftist
This is not a talking point. This is 100 years of history. Watch this. I'm going to show you how easy it is. Mr. Perkins, are neo-Nazis supremacists?
They are supremacists.
Thank you, sir. Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Swan, that wasn't a trick question for them. I wasn't trying to trip them up. I wasn't using DNC talking points. This is part of the problem. And I didn't even want to do this, quite frankly, because I'm not interested in making this stuff political. Right? I got Democratic candidates in Texas coming out yesterday and saying that Jews belong in concentration camps again. Okay?
It's terrible.
Like we're in real bad times.
I agree.
And so if we put these hateful conversations in our political box and we do the whataboutism, this is just going to continue to spread hate.
I agree 100%. We agree.
Right. And that's why we got to be able to at least agree to a simple set of facts that neo-Nazis are supremacists, right? Okay, we've moved on. We've moved on. You're there.
But you all use white supremacists as a broad statement. I
didn't say anything.
Why is it that these guys can't engage in a civil, good faith conversation with someone that they claim to be questioning? Okay, why? Because while he claims it's not a true question, while his body language, he just can't wait to set her up for something that will give him a nice sound bite to say, oh, look at her. She's sympathetic to white supremacists because she doesn't support the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Other than they're supremacists.
Okay.
And they are.
I apologize to you, sir.
Okay. No, you don't have to apologize to me. I just want you to understand, if we can't agree on a simple set of facts, then we can't solve the problems. So, Mr. Chairman, this obviously was a specific topic that you had scheduled a couple weeks ago and invited these witnesses in. But I got to be honest, the last week, the amount of anti-Semitic messages, voicemails, text messages I have gotten, stuff on my social media, an assassination plot, a couple months ago, someone serving 25 years in jail, and now watching someone running for office trying to join the greatest deliberative body ever created on this planet, who thinks the way forward for America is to look at 1940s Germany. Okay, my grandmother was part of the Kindertransport out of Germany. Her parents died at Auschwitz. My kids are not going to an internment camp, I can assure you. And it's becoming so normalized. It is, we've gone from, there's Americans who donate to elected officials, that are AIPAC, and then it's, okay, Netanyahu, and then it's, okay, maybe we shouldn't support foreign money, and then, okay, now we're going to call these people Zionists, and now we're at concentration camps. By the way, we got the concentration camps much faster than I thought we would get, but here we are. And it's real scary. People are scared. People don't want to show their Jewish stars anymore. They're moving into neighborhoods just to be around other Jews because they're concerned. And one of my Republican colleagues, and I know I'm over, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to wrap it up. One of my Republican colleagues asked, Do we know why it's spreading? Hate, all sorts of hate, not just anti-Semitism. This is why it's spreading. It's all here. It's really here. Go poll young kids versus seniors. It's a dramatic difference in the amount of hate young kids have versus seniors. This is the difference.
Again, agree to disagree. I have this, but this doesn't make me post anti-Semitic content. This doesn't make me post hateful content. Someone might hear what I have to say on my videos and would claim that I am being bigoted because I don't believe that boys should be in girls' bathrooms. Someone might hear my points about my conservative position on many things and say that I am a this phobe or that phobe. Okay? But it doesn't mean that I'm actually being hateful or I'm actually being bigoted. I'm only talking common sense. That has been common sense for millennia, for at least 2,000 years. So yes, you can point to this, and whenever people start attacking technology or something, they are trying to platform a bill that they are trying to draft or get behind, because again, whenever, and he's a Democrat. So here's what I am assuming. This is an assumption. It hasn't been proven yet. He's saying this, and I'm sure that, I'm assuming, not sure, I'm assuming that somewhere behind his position is censorship. Okay, censorship. That's what I assume he's leaning towards when he begins to go in that direction.
You're seeing it in voting patterns. You're seeing it in belief systems. We've let foreign governments and bots just totally weaponize this. No countries can beat us militarily. We're stronger than everyone combined. But they are gotten us fighting amongst ourselves, dividing us, at each other's throats. So if you ask me why things are so bad, I mean, just spend a couple minutes, go to my Twitter, go look at some happy things, like a happy Veterans Day or happy Memorial Day that I posted. Look at the hate I get. It is out of control. So, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate you doing this hearing in general, but real hate, is spreading in this country in ways that my grandparents, they're gone. But I can't imagine if they were alive to see what was going on here. I yield back. Thank you for the extra.
So this part of his statement, I agree with. I agree that the hate is out of control. I agree. But like I said earlier, you can't blame technology for the things that people do. Humans are the ones handling these devices, and they're pushing these ideas out there. All right, so let's get to the chat. If you're watching, we're live on YouTube, on Rumble, Kick, and Twitch. If you like, you can send us your thoughts on the video that we just watched. Now, Patricia says the Europeans started that with their analysis of African people. The African people did not have great cities, therefore they were not as superior as Europeans. Yeah, they did. You cannot defend your misinformation that they are using. You cannot defend your misinformation that they are using to make their agenda that has no facts to relate the agenda to. So they make up their own statements and hope people believe it with no proof. And like I said, it's all about appealing to people who are uneducated, like the kids we just watched at the beach. They can say these outlandish things, and because the professors have primed them to believe these leftist policies, they vote these policies in. Patricia says, we are being shown how people can be manipulated with tweets and posts that some think are the absolute truth. Yeah, that is true. Now let's watch one more video. I have one more video, and then we can just have a chat before we wrap up. Again, you can post your thoughts in the chat.
Wish that they got him. People just need to stop missing. There was an assassination attempt on President Trump. Did you hear?
Yeah, we saw that.
I did, yes.
Yeah.
What's your initial thoughts?
I wish they got him.
People just need to stop missing.
Why'd he miss?
Yeah.
He needs to be taken out, like, immediately.
When you do things that the people don't agree with, they tend to fight back.
Karma's real. You know what I'm saying?
It's happening to a lot of Americans. Those people in power know how it feels now.
You know, I feel it's like not true. It's like a manipulation.
By who?
The government.
I can understand what you're saying, but the shooter, his manifesto came out. He was a radical left-wing Democrat. He wrote that he wanted to kill the president, his administration, and as many people in that room as possible. You think that's from the government?
I don't know.
I'd read the manifesto, and it seemed like that person was obviously making a decision that he felt really aligned with his values. He was intent on killing the president. I hope that he gets peace and the people who feel affected by the president get peace. Do you think political violence is ever justified?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yes.
To a point, I would say.
I do think that it can be necessary, and people shouldn't be surprised when it does happen.
I don't want to make any statements on this because I'm 19 years old, and I don't want to put myself in a situation where I'll regret what I say.
These people vote, guys. These people vote. And what they don't realize is if they sign off on political violence, they think that it's violence that happens to someone else. What happens when the side that is being attacked decides to attack back? You know, because in their minds, it's okay to attack the people you think are dangerous, and you've been told this group over here are dangerous. You have zero evidence to that effect. You've only been told they're doing all these horrible things that you've not seen or experienced, but they're really bad people, and you believe them. Your professors told you that, your teachers told you that. For some of these kids, your parents told you that, and then you're like, yeah, these are horrible people. And yes, we have to, show them that they don't have the right to be so mean, and say, yes, let's be, so political violence is permitted, yes, against them. But what happens when that violence is directed at you, or the people decide that they want to defend themselves, and you happen to be the person they are defending against? So I listen to this and I'm like, personally, I'm horrified that this is actually the way people think, and I'm concerned that a lot that we're seeing people actually act out these convictions. We saw the guy who made an attempt on Trump, 3 attempts on a former and sitting president, 3 in the last couple of years. And everyone thinks it's normal. These kids think, oh, he shouldn't have missed. So we really do have a problem.
Give us specifics. In what situations do you think political violence is justified?
If we're going to let an administration take down the American people and other people in other countries, I do think that political violence is probably justified.
Very much depends, because if you're oppressed, the violence is like a daily thing you have to deal with.
Last week, Jimmy Kimmel said Trump's wife was looking like a widow-to-be, hinting that he would be assassinated soon.
Look at, well, it's so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow.
Do you think stuff like that's okay?
Yeah.
If our government isn't caring about our safety, then I don't think we have any responsibility necessarily to care about theirs. What would have been your feeling if President Trump or anybody in his administration was assassinated?
It would be some kind of celebration for the American people. Me personally, I'd have my little sigh of relief.
You wouldn't have any personal opinions if a president was assassinated?
Not at all. That's so far out of my realm of thinking right now.
You're an American citizen, I assume?
Yeah.
Where do we go from here?
Well, Nepal burned down their parliament building.
Maybe we just need better leadership or something.
We think we are the good people, but they think they are the good people and we are the bad people, I think hate only brings...
Okay, so I'll say it. I don't think they are the bad people. I think they have bad ideas, but I don't think they are the bad people. Now, if you're conservative out there, let me know in the chat if you think this way or if you really think that they are bad people. Okay. Now, I would own up to the fact that, yes, I have mentioned that there are people in Congress who I have called evil because these are the ones who have all the information, and yet they choose to lie to the American people and stir up this group of people who are not educated. They are misinformed, and they use that misinformation to stir these young ones up against common sense values and policies. So, I mean, it's just insane.
Bring more hate, and I think it's better talk, find something in the middle.
Well, the reactions today definitely tell a bigger story about political violence in our country. What do you think? Share your comments.
Yeah. So okay. So let's jump. Let's talk in the comments. Okay. Yeah. So I think I've taken this one. Yeah. So Patricia says, you can post something online that is absolutely false, and people will believe it. One I've seen was women getting worms from bras. Look, people will believe anything, especially if you edit it properly and then you have an expert come up and say that it's actually happened. Patricia again says, from history, it is proven, it's a proven fact that when the people who are attacked and decide to fight back, it does not turn out good for the ones who started the attacking. It's true, because the people who are now acting in self-defense tend to have a righteousness driving them, and most of them have again, there's also a spirit of justice. Okay, I don't want to say God here, but a spirit of justice. Funny enough, this week, my family and I were reading the book of Esther. And if you don't know the backstory of the book of Esther, you have the Jews who were in exile in Persia, present-day Iran. And the king remarries a new wife, and the new wife happens to be a Jew named Hadassah or Esther. And there's his prime minister, or his right hand, who is called Haman. Haman is a guy who has a long history with the Jews, hates the Jews, and decides that he wants to get rid of the Jews. The king promotes him, gives him a signet ring, and he decides, okay, I'm going to use this power that I've been given to wipe out every Jew everywhere in the empire. And he starts down that path. Now, he passes a law, and the law of the Persians and the Medes cannot be reversed. Once it has been written, it can't be undone. It's not like an executive order that Trump writes or any other president writes and the new president comes in and changes it. If a king of Persia writes a decree and the signet has been used, even if a new king comes into office and hates the old king, he can't reverse that order. Okay, it is the law of the Persians and the Medes. So he gives this guy his signet ring. He writes a new executive order which cannot be reversed, which essentially says, on a certain day the following year, all the Jews across the empire should be slaughtered, and whoever does the slaughtering can keep their property. So everyone who hates the Jews likes that idea. Well, in the end, some things develop. If you want me to tell this story, you guys can let me know in the chat, but I'm going to just jump to the end. In the end, a few things come together and the roles are reversed, and someone else is then promoted to be the right hand of the king, happens to be Esther's uncle, Mordecai, or cousin. He was her cousin, but much older. And then the king, and Esther says to the king, hey, this decree, this executive order that says that all the Jews are supposed to be killed next year, can you do anything about it? And the king says, no, I can't. The law says once the executive order has been passed, it can't be reversed. So what do? They write another executive order that says the Jews now have the right to defend themselves. And anyone who attempts to attack them and take their property is now fair game. The Jews can now fight back and, beat them. And you know what? The Jews win, because all these people who were like salivating and saying, "Oh, we're going to destroy these guys and take their property and sell their children and wives as slaves." Well, no, there was no selling them as slaves. They were meant to be wiped off the face of the earth. The Jews now had a license to defend themselves. They armed themselves, organized themselves against their enemies, and they destroyed their enemies who were planning to fight against them. So just like you said, Patricia, anyone who starts, fighting a group that didn't start a fight tends to be the ones that gets defeated and wiped out. So you're right. So I just told that story because coincidentally, we read that story this week with the kids. And Patricia says, I do believe the leftists have been trying to bring about a civil war. Excuse me. The young people aligned with them do not realize that this is what they are being led to. It's a scary thing. It's a scary thing to consider. And a lot of people who are like, ginning up the fervor of, we need to normalize violence. It's okay. Violence is allowed when certain factors fall in place, and it's okay to do that. Don't know what they're asking for. They don't know what they're asking for. They don't. Many of them think that war is a video game. It's modern warfare or one of these first shooter games. They don't realize. Look, and many of these people haven't seen a corpse before. They haven't seen a corpse before. One time, I don't know, I remember this, and I saw that there was a time while I was in college where one of the cities a few miles from the college had a serious issue with bandits and robbers. And so the police wasn't doing their job. And so a group of vigilantes decided that they were going to start protecting the city. The vigilantes had the backing of the people, and they got out of hand. They seriously got out of hand. It got really bad that anyone could be randomly accused of being a bandit or a robber, and those guys will show up at your house and execute you. It got really bad. So one day I had to go to that city to get some supplies, and I got off the bus, and lying on the side of the road. I was driving through on transportation, and I saw lying on the side of the road someone who had been executed. It's like Nigeria is not Iran. It's not Iraq. It's not a war zone. But sometimes you routinely come across these things. And when you see a lifeless body, there's something that happens to the atmosphere. These guys don't understand what they're asking for. They think that it's a movie. They watch these well curated and produced movies that show people, the main character is dodging bullets and diving and rolling on the floor, and not one bullet hits him. That's not real life. That's not real life. But they think it is. It's like those guys who were saying about the ICE officer who fired the shot at what's her name? Forgotten the name. The lady that Good, okay, Nicole Good's windscreen and killed her. They're like, oh, they could have shot her, the tires of the car. The ICE officer could have jumped out of the way. Like, they think it's a movie. That's a movie. Real life is very different. They think that that's how real life is. And they're begging. They're begging for chaos. They're begging for the insanity. But you know what? Like you said, these leftists are trying to make this civil war happen because what tends to take place is that when there's chaos, they organize themselves and try to be at the top of things during the chaos. That's the idea. That's what happened during the Russian Revolution. That's what happened during the Chinese revolution. It happens in every Marxist communist revolution. They need chaos to happen. So we're going to keep talking about it and warning against it, because people who don't know history, people who don't even know the history of the last 20 years, can't even tell you the history of the last 500 years, don't know how these things pan out for the people who don't know what's going on. They don't, so it's crazy. Patricia sends one more chat. Every country that has been led into civil war has went through the same process being used with the young generation today. If you study history, you can identify it exactly what I just said without reading your chat. It's insane. And one of the things that I keep running into is how, like you said earlier, Patricia, how history is not being taught in the schools anymore. History isn't being taught in the schools anymore. They want everyone to be ignorant. They want everyone to not be aware of these patterns. There's a verse in the Bible, I believe it's in Ecclesiastes. I think it says, whatever will be has been. There is nothing new under the sun. They will continue to repeat these patterns. The same techniques that were used in the Russian Revolution, the Chinese Revolution, all the other revolutions out there, the same techniques are going to be used on the United States, or are being used on the United States. They bring up malcontent. They tell you that the Republicans are racist, are bigots, they are corrupt, they are stealing everyone's money. Oh, look, the price of gas is way up there. Meanwhile, under them, it was worse during the Biden administration. But what did they tell Americans? Oh, Joe Biden doesn't control the price of gasoline or oil. That's what they said when the price of gas was so high under the Biden administration. They gaslit the American people to say, look, it's not Biden's fault. How come now it's Trump's fault? How come it's Trump's fault? Trump isn't the one blasting oil tankers out of the Strait of Hormuz. He's not the one that created a blockade. He's not. They say, oh, well, but Trump attacked Iran because Iran has been attacking American citizens for 47 years. What are you talking about? Comment in the chat. For the patterns to work, you first have to address the young generation so they do not recognize what they are being taught. It's true. The younger generations have been brainwashed. They are miseducated. While I'm talking right now, I'm thinking about my own kids. I'm like, okay, what can I do to help my kids? Because like I read the Bible to them, I discuss history with them. Sometimes we're reading the Bible and then I begin to teach them history while we're reading the Bible, because the Bible is a historical text. And so I try to teach them these things. I encourage them to do their own research. I show them how to do research. Sometimes we're reading the Bible because I use the TV screen, to read the Bible. I project the Bible, the scriptures to the screen. And then sometimes they ask me a question and then I do a prompt on ChatGPT to kind of answer the question and so on. So I teach them how to do their own research. I'm trying, but I hope I'm doing enough, because the amount of misinformation and the amount of lies that are out there is just insane. And now that they live in the West, because two of them lived in Nigeria with us, and then we have one that's been born here, so he's a citizen here. I have one American citizen, and now I have another citizen. And one of the things that we did was we moved them here because we didn't want them to grow up in a country that kills its own citizens. And then now you have Americans who are glorifying other countries that do not have the same rights that they do, that don't have the same opportunities that they do, and claim that their country is evil and racist and all of those things. Meanwhile, they've never set foot in another country to see the horrors that happen in another country. Patricia says, I had to attend parent-teacher meetings during a job I had. No parents were showing up in the 9 different schools. When you give up your power, you get really bad results. My wife and I try to engage with the parent-teacher conferences that we have, but, we're walking into a situation where the concrete has already set, if you get what I mean. The policies, like, this isn't now the school system proposing policies. The policies have been voted on decades ago. We're just walking on the hard concrete now. So we're looking at things that have been formed already. But what we can do is what we're doing at home. It's what we're doing at home. We're trying to prepare them for a world that has gone insane. It has gone insane. Yeah. So we're gonna be back again on Sunday night. Patricia says now parents attending these are being called names to discredit the concerns of the parents. Well, what I said about us dealing with something that's set in concrete also points to the fact that being immigrants, there's a limit to what we can say. So we're forced, in essence, to work within the established format that, you can't come up and raise a stink. Even parents who are raising a stink are being dragged through the courts. I have a friend who was dragged through the courts because he raised a stink. So and these are citizens. So it's a very strange time to be alive. It's a strange time to be alive. But somewhere along the line, I think that eventually conservatives are going to return to homeschooling and setting up their own educational systems. The leftists won't let that slide. They want control over everyone. They want control over the conservatives. They want to control your family. They want to control what happens in your bedroom. They want to control everything. So I don't think conservatives will be left alone. Right now, I think in Germany, I think it's from Germany, any family that decides they want to homeschool their kids gets prosecuted. You have to send your kids into the government schools to be programmed to be good, loyal, brainwashed minions of the government. I think it's Germany. I saw a report on that a few years ago. So it's crazy what we're watching, but we will do our best. I play these videos to kind of show the contrast. Like there are a few of us who don't know what's going on out there because we live in a siloed existence. Trump returning the schools to the states has interrupted this plan of programming students to a new way of thinking. It's been paused. It's been paused. The problem with this is conservatives tend to be careless with politics. We expect everyone to have the same common sense values, and we assume that once this has been reversed, everyone will see that Trump was right, and they would see the error of their ways, and then they would just fall in line. That isn't going to happen. I have been so naive. I have been so naive. When Trump won the election, I honestly thought that there will be no use for the content I was creating anymore, that I'll be better off just stopping creating videos because everyone would see the error of their ways. Now Trump won. The news outlets that claim that he would lose in a landslide would slink away into oblivion, and everyone would be, would have the veil removed from their eyes. I was so wrong. People would refuse to see the truth and acknowledge it. Red states will change the education policies, the blue ones will not. And the blue ones would begin to infiltrate the red ones to find ways to overrule the right of states to hold to those policies if the Democrats take over the House and Senate. Because that's what they do. They want to export the insanity to red states. That's why they will gerrymander to get more seats in the red states, and then eventually try to gerrymander the conservatives out of a predominantly red state. You could literally have more conservatives in a state than you have progressives or leftists, and yet you would have more representation for the leftists. Yes, they are dismantling America. I have a book. I think it's linked in most of my videos. I'm going to post the link here in the chat. I hope you enjoy this. Hold on, I need to get the link from one of my videos. It's called Dismantling America by Thomas Sowell. I bought this book and I went through this book, and believe me, the more I listened to the book, the more upset I got. Just listening to the book, I'm like, this is insane. So that's the link to the audio book, I think. So you can listen to it yourself. It is crazy. Tom Sowell details all of these policies under Obama and decades of leftist progressive policies that have been positioning America to be essentially destroyed from within. It was from that book that I read about how Obama went to Iran and bowed to the Ayatollah. I was like, who does that? He did. The guy spent 8 years groveling before globalist powers and Islamists and so on. It was just crazy. Well, it's all in the book. So I hope you enjoy. I hope you enjoy the book. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Patricia. I'm glad you're back. So I'm sure that we're going to have a blast on Sunday. Tomorrow is my Sabbath for content creation. I'm not going to be live streaming tomorrow. I'll be back on Sunday night. and I'm going to work towards making the live streams earlier so that more of us can join and have a conversation around the things that we're seeing in the news and some of these crazy street interviews, because sometimes you watch the news and the news is telling you about this crazy big thing over here, but meanwhile there's stuff going on at street level like we watched during today's live stream that will make your blood curdle, because these are the people who vote. And if everyone who's conservative decides that, oh, we're just going to relax, we have the presidency, we have the House and Senate, I don't have to come out to vote, well done. Okay, if you wake up in December and find out that the Democrats have essentially taken over either the House or Senate or both, okay, you were a part of that very unfortunate situation. Oh, meanwhile, Patricia, congratulations, Thomas Massey has been removed. We talked about this, and we're like, oh, that has to happen. Well, it's happened, and Mitch McConnell isn't coming back. So congratulations, Patricia. I'm sure you are pleased that that happened this week. All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I'll see you on Sunday, and I'll catch you the next one. Patricia says, I am smiling big time. Yeah, when I was reporting on that story, I was like, Patricia's going to be having a lot of fun with this. So maybe we'll talk about that maybe on Sunday, because look, Thomas Massey doesn't seem to want to go away quietly. He wants to still make a stink. So maybe we'll see some more news on Monday or Tuesday, because he's still trying to make a lot of noise. And Lauren Boebert also is making a stink. So maybe we'll talk about that in another live stream. All right, guys, have a great weekend. I love you. I'm praying for you, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.